Good afternoon, everybody, and greetings from sunny Spain. My name is Roy Howitt, and I'm the country manager at Medland, Spain. And on this very sunny afternoon in the Costa Blanca, I was joined by two of our colleagues and from the Costa Blanca area itself, Lorraine Hughes, who works at Medland on the internal sales team. And I'm delighted to say two people I've known, not personally, but known them for their work in this area for many years, David and Jessie Hayes. I've done so many of these events recently, as you may know, through my connections with A Place in the Sun, whether it be webinars or the various broadcasts, etc. And I have to say, on occasions, they can be fairly tedious and boring. We're not out to be tedious and boring today. What we're out to do is to have some fun and explain to you a lot more about the Costa Blanca South area. It's an area personally that I've enjoyed now for the last 17, going on 18 years. And I know between us, we've got something in excess of 50 years living on the Costa Blanca. The idea is we want to talk about what you want to talk about if you want to ask questions along the way. And the only thing I ask in terms of housekeeping is at the end of the presentation, you spend 5 minutes just completing a quick questionnaire form so that we can get feedback on this and understand what else you want to hear about. The one thing we're not going to do is take questions on Brexit. We're all sick to death of what they're talking about there. So we really are focusing on the area, because when anybody is looking at properties, the key aspect to anything is location. We have such a diversity of activities in this particular area. That's really what we're going to show you today, with some examples of properties thrown in as well. I want to start with Lorraine. Lorraine, how long have you been in Spain now?
22 years.
Okay, and you live up in Entrenarencos, which we also know as Vista Bay Golf, which is, I think, an unusual community because it's such a high percentage of residential, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We're pretty much all year round. It's busy all year round. So people in and out, golfers and bowlers, and yeah, busy time.
Okay, you've got quite a nice virtual background there. Where was that? Behind you?
That was Aguilas last weekend. That was our little day out. So yeah, kind of have a little jolly out every day. So every weekend.
Did you get a chance to have a look at any of the new build properties that we've got down there at the moment?
I did go and have a little look at Isia Karma and a couple of the other places to see where the villas are and the apartments. Yeah, really nice place. Lunch at the harbour, yeah, brilliant.
And now, of course, they have the big carnival each year. They have a massive carnival. I think it's the second one to Rio, where they're all the different sound systems and things. I've been to it twice now, so I think one of the largest gay pride areas in terms of the.
Sounds good. I'm going to book that next time.
Okay, so moving on, you've been here because, I mean, say one of the things here, you've actually used, or not used the system, but been involved in the system a lot here because you brought your children up over here, didn't you? Or you actually had children in Spain.
I have, yes. Yeah, all three of them have grown up, gone through school and been born in Torrevieja and Murcia. So yeah, they're good.
And how do you find this? How do you find the system? I mean, so how's it work? Because I mean, say what I'm thinking, the youngest one had to have a COVID test the other day, didn't he?
He did, yes. It's just, I think, more worrying when they've mixed with people and you're not sure where they've been and what they've got. So it was more preventary, but they had him straight in at the weekend, test done, result back next day. So fantastic service.
So you came over fairly young, comparatively. She's smiling there, look, like that one, didn't you?
Was.
Why did you come to Spain? What was the reason?
Oh, mainly the weather, climate, better life. Yeah, just England was miserable. My friends didn't know what to do with the kids at the weekend because it was wet all the time. So yeah, just for a better life, really.
Okay, and I know you're on where you're living at the moment. How did you select the area where you decided to buy your property?
That's tricky. We started on Quesada, which 22 years ago was the new upcoming kind of place with lots of building going on. So we started off over there and we've moved, about 20 minutes away inland. But it's huge here now. So yeah, we've got Italians, Chinese, we've got restaurants, the golf club. There's just more up here, really, I feel, for the kids.
Yeah, when I first came over on a viewing trip 20 years ago, Entrenarencos was one of the first places they took us to. To be frank, we didn't buy there because at the time there was nothing. I mean, there was the promise of the golf club, etc., which I think followed about 12 years later. when they opened the course and the facilities over there. But initially, there wasn't a great deal.
They've just finished it as well, so that's good.
Yes,
We now have 18 holes.
Yeah. So, Laurie, what's in terms of you? What's your role at Medland? What do you do?
My role, okay, yeah, I'm first port of call, really. I get the contacts and I try and call and see what the client would like. It's not up to me to sell, but it is up to me to help them buy something that they want and they need. So yeah, lots of research really to do with them and see what's going to make them happy out here and where we can put them. Most of my clients, it's more area, the properties are easy, but it's the areas they need the help with. So yeah, 22 years, I kind of help them a bit with that.
Yeah, one of the biggest advantages that you've got, of course, is you know the systems and you know the areas, and that I would hope goes a long way to answering the questions from people, because there's nothing better, is there, than local knowledge and knowing where that special bar is and where that special beach is or things like that.
Sure. And the bakery especially.
Which moves me on to my next question. What's your favourite beach and what's your favourite restaurant?
Oh, my beach. I'm more of a Covey beach girl, so I like the Cabo Roig beaches. Cala Capitan, I like that one. As for a restaurant, that's tricky. I do like me Indians, so yeah, it's got to be Punjabi palace.
Okay, somebody's got a question here. Can you just repeat the area that Lorraine mentioned before? And that was, I think, when they were talking about, Lorraine, the area that you travelled down to, and that was actually Aguilas, wasn't it?
It was, yes, yeah.
Aguilas is down literally almost on the border when you're getting down towards Andalusia. So it's almost the border. It comes under the Murcia region, and it's almost the border between going from the Murcia region and into Andalusia. Beautiful, beautiful town, in actual fact. Around about an hour and 45 minutes travelling from Alicante Airport, and about 45 minutes to an hour travelling from the new Corvair Airport. Okay, thank you very much, Lorraine. I'm going to now move over to our other panelist. Two for the price of one today, I can see, Dave and Jessica. So same questions really to you guys. How long have you been over here now?
Yeah, firstly, a warm welcome to all of my viewers today, and also those who will be watching on social media after today's presentation. 15 years, my wife Jess and myself, David, have been in the area.
Yeah, a long time.
Yeah.
Not quite as long as Lorraine, but getting there.
But also, I know that one of the things that fascinated me was the guide that you wrote originally when you came over here. You know, I was an avid reader of that at the time because I used to do the walking routes and all sorts of things.
Sorry.
We've written 3 guidebooks in total. The first one was called the Hayes Guide, which was a ring binder one, and then we've written 2 more. One of days out from the Costa Blanca South, and one the local area for the Costa Blanca South.
And can you still get these on places like Amazon and that? Or do you
No, we haven't reprinted them because the areas are developing so fast and so many more facilities and so many things that we can see and do that it's better just to keep it on the website.
So it'll be on the website, but it certainly needs refreshing. So that's could be a winter project, but it's learning the area is something exploring. We just love it. Just find a road and drive it and see where it takes you.
Yeah, I remember the day I discovered the route that went from Santa Pola to Gran Alicante.
Absolutely.
That's a lovely road.
You know, what a great way to take family and friends back to the area.
That's something, unless you knew to sort of take a chance and drive down that initial start of it, you wouldn't even think of, would you?
No.
I think you turn around if you didn't know where it was going.
And the little chapel, of course, as you go around the bend.
Yeah. Yes, and now you can also see the skywalk in Gran Alicante from there as well, the one that comes beside the lighthouse.
I've never found the source of the skywalk. I've tried to get round to it a few times to sort of go onto it, but I've never managed to sort of find out where it runs from. So I might ask you.
There's 2 entrances, one from the N332 that's signposted Faro, which means lighthouse, and then the other one from the top of Gran Alicante. You just keep on going up past all the market and past the sports facilities, and there's a park up there where the tourist train turns around. There's a big turning circle.
See, that's why you're on this today, you see. It's about a lot more. It's about a lot more than just properties. It's about really knowing the area and getting the most out of it.
100%.
So why this area? Why did you pick to come here?
We kind of look at it like a spider's web, really. The body was the house, And we love the outdoors. So we had the sea, the beaches that you've mentioned, the salt lakes, and then the mountains. All of those are within 45 minutes of each other. Like Lorraine, we're explorers. Tomorrow we're 45 minutes up to Novelda, and we'll be hiking in the mountains on our day off. And most importantly as well, the vibrancy of those 4 cities, Elche, Cartagena, Murcia and Alicante, again, 45 minutes from this Costa Blanca South area. A good motorway link, a good train link from Catral into Alicante and then up to Madrid and the gateway of Spain through the Renfe system. And just again, price related, it was very competitive in the Costa Blanca South and it fitted our budget. Mm-hmm. So one of many reasons really, but those are the fundamental ones.
One of the things, because we're going to be talking today about the Costa Blanca South, one of the regular queries, and I don't know, moans I hear, is about the transport system. Yeah, I've used the buses and I've used the airport bus and I've used the buses along the coast and I've always found them to be pretty reliable and on time and of course very clean and air conditioned. I know one day we're going to have a train. I know they're talking about extending the Abbey link down here. When that will be, nobody knows. But have you done much travelling in that way, or is it mainly driving?
Mainly driving. To be honest, mainly driving, but that's just our lifestyle and how it works with that. The bus system through different parts is of a different level of.
It depends. If you're in the urban areas like Torrevieja, you've got loads and loads of buses and loads of routes and a great selection. But more around the villages of the Villamartin, then you've got less public transport.
But again, there are options. Every little area, every little pueblo can be connected in some way. And of course, that's where your expertise comes in when you're showing and you can explain those routes as well. So
and then the timetables tend to be figured around the Spanish day. So you're 9 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock before your siesta, then 5 o'clock till 9, 10 o'clock at night. So maybe the bus's timings aren't what suits the international people so much.
I've got a widget on my iPhone that actually gives me the local stops and the bus times and everything, by the way. So, that was sort of downloaded and it's pretty good. As I say, I don't use them that often, but it's not too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move in now to the main sort of presentation and that. And as I say, let's go through now what we're going to look at property-wise and area-wise. And again, emphasise, please, if you have any questions, please click the Q&A button and we're more than happy to answer those questions. There we come. Okay. One thing I want to start with is we haven't talked about is what your business does now, because I know during the pandemic things have changed a lot. And initially, I know you were very successful in organising the coach trips and things. But of course, at the moment, there isn't too much of that going on, is there? Even in this particular area. Although, in fairness, our COVID rate is probably certainly one of the lowest ones in Spain at the moment. Valencia region is white on the map at the moment. So those people who are willing and wanting to travel, but we're doing very well on that particular front. But of course, the rules say you can't do what you're going to do. So talk about a bit what you do as a business. And football and the love of Elche.
Don't get him started on football. You want him to stop.
Well, I don't know if anyone's watching, but we all have a dream. And many years ago, Jess and I worked for a company in ski lakes and mountains in Austria, France, and North America. And we saw an opportunity for a viewing trip, and we came over, and we were young, we were enthusiastic, we were in our early 30s. And like Lorraine touched on earlier about the Quesada region, we just saw that there was a real up-and-coming area, and bit naive, took the gamble, sold up in the UK, came over here, bought a house, no job, didn't speak the language, and had to pay our mortgage in 12 months' time. Jess sent me over on my own for a year. Jess carried on at home, and we never looked back. It was a big gamble, but it was hard work, but there's nothing more proud that we can say we did. So that's when we set up our Euro tour guide, wasn't it?
We set that up 8-9 years ago, and that's when we did all the area information and all the guidebooks and everything else like that. And about a year and a half ago, we finally got our license to let us do coach tours. So we've been doing the coach tours for a year and a half, and we've been to some wonderful places. We went to Madrid to see Andre Roux, and we've been to Swan Lake and different concerts, and then out to see the natural environment. We went to see these the peach flowers in Sierra, and lots of the fiestas. That's what we enjoy very much about the Spain.
Fireworks, absolutely love. So all the fireworks displays, all the cultural events and traditions that we blog about on our website as well. Currently with COVID, we're not highlighting those because it's a lot of people in one area and there aren't many anyway. But you can follow us on Facebook and we always give you the information, and not so you don't, oh, I didn't hear about that. All the local fiestas in the area are on the website for you to go and enjoy either on your own steam, or you can jump on with our coach trip and we make it really easy for you. So we just
one question here from an anonymous viewer. They're asking what resources they should be using to find out what's going on. It's an easy question. Your Facebook page, surely.
Eurotourguide.com, absolutely. Calendar events and Facebook page.
We have the link of this webinar to our Facebook group, which is for our coach tour specifically. But if you want to see the events, if you just type into Facebook Euro Tour Guide and sign up to that page, and that's where we publish all of the events. But it's been inactive since March because of the COVID.
Obvious reasons. Okay, let's move into have a look at some areas and have a look at some properties. Again, this is very, very focused on the Costa Blanca, as I mentioned earlier on. I think there's probably 77 good reasons to choose the Costa Blanca, never mind the 7, aside from the classic thing, which are always the beaches. In fact, the Alicante and Valencia region have more blue flag beaches than any other area of Spain. But you don't just come and live here for beaches. The fact of the matter is there's so much more, you know, simple things like the quality of, I'm talking about if you're relocating now, of our hospitals and our medical cover here. The climate, I mean, say that helps towards people's health anyway, and that we're looking at over 300 days sunshine a year. And we do have a bit of a microclimate in this area because of the effect of the salt lakes, etc. You will find it's a very, very healthy lifestyle. In fact, according to the Health Organization, the second most healthy place to live in the world, in actual fact. The food, the sport, the drink, really everything, and even more importantly, the cost of living. You know, when I look at what I pay for community fees in Spain, in my case, less than 150 euros a year, people sort of sit and jump up and say, no, what do you mean 150 euros a year? Because obviously in the UK, that could be a month. So our overall cost of living really for just about most things is a lot less than the UK. Bit about Medland, we are a new build specialist. So we're the guys who sell the modern, contemporary, lots of glass, well insulated is the key thing, because the way they build the newer properties these days is very different to the older style, traditional style. And we've now been going since 2013 with 2 offices and 46 staff, covering 11 different countries. In fact, we have 9 different languages that we speak as a group. Apart from the English, we have Danish, Dutch, Belgium, Russian, you name it. We have individual sales groups that specifically work with each of those client groups. But we don't just stop as a selling company. There are many agents out there that don't have the after-sales service, certainly that we need when we're selling a new property. So we're going to hold your hand all the way through from the sale, and also furnishing and reporting on progress in terms of stage payments, if you're buying off plan. All of these things that are important to the delivery of a property, and how we built our reputation on the Costa Blanca to be the largest seller of new build specialists along the coast. And we are a Spanish-based company, so we're not bringing people in from the UK, and that's a very unassuming office that we have down in Torrevieja, as you can see there, through the logos and the colours. It's a very vibrant environment, both in terms of the staff and also the graphics and things. We're very specific on areas. We're not a jack of all trades. We're focused on delivering properties along a 350-kilometre stretch, which includes the Costa Blanca and the Costa Calida, where we go from north of Denia all the way down to Aguilas, which is the photographs that you saw from Lorraine earlier on. In actual fact, over this stretch of coast, there are something in excess of 800 new build developments. We really do know there's something to cater for most of us. However, the most important aspect of all of this is, of course, location, location, location. Anybody that sees me involved in the exhibitions with people like A Place in the Sun, that's where we start. Anybody that comes on a viewing trip or a visit, because you can look at any number of websites and not get any idea about the particular location. As I always say, if I had €1 for every time that somebody came over and was destined to buy, they thought a particular property, and bought something else, I wouldn't be doing this today. Today we're focusing on the Costa Blanca, specifically the Costa Blanca South. But to give you an idea, the stretch of the Costa Blanca is just over 210 kilometers. There are something in excess of 76 blue flag beaches along there. It's not huge. You know, you can travel from one end of the Costa Blanca to the other over a reasonable time thing because the roads are so good. Recently, they've removed, for example, all the tolls on the stretch from Alicante down to the Benissa. So you don't no longer pay to use that stretch of road. And they reckon 1.3 million people living in the Costa Blanca, of which 30% are non-Spanish. Costa Blanca South is an area, and it's actually quite a small area. I was surprised when I worked it out going from Alicante down to an area of El Mahon, which is close to a place called Pilar de la Horadada. Well, it was 58 kilometers or 35 miles, about 1,700 square meters. To give you an idea, London is about 1,500 square meters. So we're an area greater than the size of London when I can travel from one end of the area to the other in less than 1 hour and 30 minutes. It includes all the names that you'd recognize, and one of the most searched area is Torrevieja. Torrevieja, the confusion is, however, that Torrevieja isn't just a town, it's also quite a large area. The Zenia, with the famous Zenia Boulevard, the largest open-air shopping centre now in Europe. Villamartin, with its golf courses, Cabo Roig, with its beaches and coves. Quesada, Nueva, which is inland, Benihoffer and Pilar. There's just some of the names that you might recognise. And we're going to be looking at properties in 4 of those areas as we go through. But within those areas, you are literally less than 1 hour away from either Alicante Airport or the new Murcia Airport, which is based in Torrevieja. Even over that short stretch, we've got more than 300 properties, with apartments starting out from 100,000 euros, townhouses from 170, and villas starting with a pool starting out about 189,000 euros. Plus, of course, the buying fees that you'll pay in Spain, which would be between 13 and 14% on top of the cost of any property. Now we're going to start in a part of the world that I know David and Jess live in, Santa Pola, and the area. So what's that area got going for it, people?
Muy español. No, they're all very Spanish. It's an area we love very much. Guadamar Beach is just fantastic. Its parks are fantastic. If you love nature, Guadamar is beautiful, isn't it?
You've got the beaches. You've also got the forests through to the Alfonso Park and the Reina Park, and that's a lovely place to take children, the Reina Sofia, because there's lots of little lakes and peacocks and squirrels all running around.
And in that park, the Alfonso Park, on Halloween, again, we post it on our website, all the cultural events, the Tunnel of Terror, and they tie everyone up to a rope, and you go through this park in the middle of the night to really, really pitch black, and then all the youngsters from the theatrical college, they do little stages throughout the park of horror, and they put the little ones at the beginning and the adults at the end, and obviously it's more horror as you go towards the end of the rope. Unbelievable. It's free.
And still carrying on with COVID? Will still be on this year in the normal way?
Not this year, unfortunately.
Okay, I was going to say, I know that we're living a reasonably normal life, but I would have thought somebody jumping out and scaring somebody on the end of a rope with that business probably wouldn't happen this year.
No, this is all to look forward to in the future that we've already had in the past.
Can you recognise the beach?
Absolutely, it's got to be near Guadamar.
And again, the marina, I know where it is down the front on that.
Yeah.
From the marina, is where the Rio Segura, the river that runs through the area, comes out to the sea. And from there, there's a cycle path. So anybody who likes cycling, it's a fantastic cycle path. Goes past a lot of the villages of the Vega Baja and ends up in Murcia. And actually, you can take it inland to Caravaca, which is one of the 7th most holy cities within the Catholic Church.
So if you were advising anybody who was looking at properties, why would you advise them to go to that? Because certainly around the Guadamar area, you're going to find the properties are a little bit more expensive, maybe not going down towards Santa Pola. Why would somebody, particularly, you think, want to buy in that particular location?
In which one, sorry? In Guadamar?
If they are beach
Guadamar and Santa Pola area, going down to
if they love the beach, Santa Pola and Guadalmar are two very typical, slightly larger Spanish towns. So if you want to submerge yourself on a daily basis in just more of a built-up area, then that would be for you. But also cycling as well around Villamartin and all the Camino roads. It doesn't have to be along the Segura River. The Camino roads are just miles, aren't they?
And also it's very close. It's the closest places to the Alicante airport. So if you've got a great route from where you live to Alicante airport, it's only 15 minutes, Santa Pola, and Guadamar's 20 minutes.
And public transport like you hit on as well, is very well connected also.
What we're going to do is let's have a look at the townhouse, which is a new construction very close to the beach there. You can see the reference number on the page there. It's 249,000 euros, 3-bedroom, I think 2.5 or 3 bathrooms, I can never remember. And what I'll do is I'll walk you through our own video. Again, the important point to make about this is that on our website, you will always find lots of different videos for the properties, online location information. There's a very comprehensive range of information on our own website. This again is unusual because in addition to the main body of the house, it also includes an underbuild. And an underbuild in Spain is not like you'd have a sort of basement in the bottom of the property in a UK property. They're very much part of the living space. The other thing about Guadalmar and where these properties are, of course, is that on your doorstep you do have the town and also features like the sand dunes. And this particular property, in addition, will also come with a community pool. Key thing about new build properties, I mentioned earlier on, the insulation. In Spain, we work like the rest of Europe in terms of energy performance certification. This will be an EPC B-class product. It's designed as much to keep the heat of the day out as to keep the heat in during the occasional, I wouldn't strike 12 to 15 degrees being a cold night. But we do get a little bit colder evenings. The main heating system here would be air conditioning, and this is the underbuild. They deliver the underbuild as you want it. So if you want it converted into rooms, then they'll convert it into rooms, bedrooms, bathrooms, and in the underbuilds nowadays, they also include windows. Because this is a show house, of course, they've dressed it, I hope, in an attractive way, but this is full-size furniture, however. We're not in the old days anymore where they would put undersized furniture in, and everything is optimized for light and space, as you can see from the graphics in front of you. We've taken today examples to include 2 different apartments in different locations, a villa and this townhouse, across the spread of Costa Blanca South. So aside from giving you the area information, what we're hoping we're giving you also is some specific property ideas. But even on this particular property, in the close proximity to it, there are around about 8 different developments under construction. So that's the first one for today. We're now going to move on to a different area, and that's Quesada. And weirdly enough, probably the majority of the properties that I sell are in the Quesada, Rojales, and Benihoffer area. There have been some TV programs recently, things like Living in the Sun and various other ones where businesses have been based there. It's a very, very popular area for a whole range of expats because it has a very diverse range of facilities. And I think it's where David and Jessica and Laurie lived when they first came over.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, as I say, what I've done here is obviously group them together because I think they are all in the same sort of, I know you go, for example, from Benihoffer to Benimar to Rojales in a matter of, a few kilometres to cross between the two. So what do we think? What's Quesada all about, people?
Lorraine, you've seen a big change in it, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. They found roundabouts for a start.
Yeah, but they haven't found indicators, Lorraine. They may have roundabouts, right?
Not to use properly.
No.
No. Yeah, it's loads of changes. Crikey, it's just grown, isn't it? It was they put Bravo on and kept in, and it's kind of massive now. But yeah, there's bits everywhere, isn't there? There's loads there, yeah. International, there's lots of different stuff. Lots of restaurants, lots of bars, lots of, good stuff.
One of the things about buying a new build property is that the price of the property will particularly be based on the price of the land. And one of the advantages of this area around about Benihoffer, etc., is compared to places like Villamartin and other locations, the land can still be acquired at reasonable rates, which means the properties that are built on those units come in. For example, when we get to this next property, this will be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom villa with a pool at €250,000. Take that same property and perhaps put it into the Villamartin area, you're going to put another 80 to 100,000 euros on an identical property. And it does have all the facilities. We are around about 8 to 10 kilometers in from the beaches of Guadalajara here, which are more than practical to travel. Dave and Jesse, your view. Oh, that's the water park. I've been to that one with the grandchildren. That's a smaller water park.
It's
the three.
Quesada Water Park. Best day I had with my nieces and nephews was taking them to here. It was the fun day ever. It was just great fun. No queues, great value, family ticket. There were 7 of us, €80. Take your packed lunch in as well. Use the grass facilities, and it's just another great attraction. But Quesada's very good as well, like a lot of other areas. But it has that all year round feel. So if you're looking to retire here or spend winters here, which a lot of the Scandinavian certainly our coachgoers spend a lot of their winter months here because they love the bright sun. There's that all year round feel. So you can walk up the high street on a morning and it's always busy. That's one of its attractions as well as its geographical layout that I touched on earlier.
And even though it's quite a small municipality compared to Guadalajara or Torrevieja, they still have their fair share of fiestas. So you don't ever have to travel very far for a fiesta if you didn't want to. So for example, we always celebrate San Isidro, who's the patron saint of the farmers. And his celebration takes place in the Recorral Park, which is sort of at the top of Quesada with beautiful views out over Guadalajara. It's been recently reformed, so it's a really nice place to go for a walk. And there's barbecue areas there, which at certain times of the year, not the hot times, but the colder times, you can just take your own coals and your own grill and go and barbecue outside in a big natural area.
Another wonderful thing is you can plan here, as you all know, the weather is not guaranteed, but it's a safe bet. So you plan every week, like Lorraine does. She goes for an exploring day out every week. We're the same. And you pretty much guarantee that you'll be able to fulfill it with the weather commitments, which is another plus point.
Lorraine, what about the medical facilities, etc., and the schools and everything else around this particular area? How did you find them?
It's good, yeah. I mean, the medical, they've got the paediatricians, they've got pretty much you can go down and get an appointment the next day. Do you know?
Really? That's not like the UK.
No, it's not. My mum has to wait 2 weeks. I don't know about anybody else. So yeah, the doctors are fabulous. We've got the Torrevieja hospital, which they seem to, most people speak English in there and get seen pretty quickly. So medical's brilliant. The schools are pretty much the same. The state schools, if you're not into a state school, there's some English, international, they call them, private schools. They're not extortionately expensive compared to the UK. So yeah, there's options out there and they're all good options. So you need
I did some comparisons recently for somebody that's coming over from Canada, believe it or not, and have already placed their child in a school. And they were telling me the rates comparatively for a good fee-paying school, somewhere like King's College, or there's a particularly good one on the Costa Blanca in Murcia, are probably between 60 and 70% of the equivalent UK fees. Something where they are operating, for something where they are operating the UK schooling system as well. I don't know, it's not O levels and A levels anymore. I can't get track of it. I can't remember what these days they're calling it. In Spain, is it a bachelorette or something? Having my boys are over 40, the pair of them, so not something I'm involved in too much anymore. So in this particular area, what we're going to have a look at is we're going to have a look at a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, semi-detached villa in a place called Donna Pepa, which is very close to the centre of Quesada. You can see the reference number there, and you can also see the price for this particular property. In this same complex, they are also offering some apartments and most recently some new townhouses they're going to be building. We don't have the prices yet for the townhouses. You are close to the town of Quesada. You are close to all the facilities. You can walk. There's actually 4 supermarkets in the immediate vicinity of this property, including a new Tesco derivative, which, believe it or not, is due to open on the 29th, I believe it is. There's certainly no lack of facilities in this particular area. And the price on this property includes everything apart from the furniture. This is sitting on around about 160 square metre plot with gated community on the area and parking immediately behind the gates. Again, the look here is open plan. The idea is to have as much light as possible, but use the technology, use the building techniques now, which are the super insulated windows. They are triple glazed. In actual, on these properties, they include a film that stops the really excessive heat of the day from coming in. And the nice thing about buying, if you are buying off plan, the way they build a Spanish property on the concrete support columns is you can redesign. And with this particular property, I've sold a number of them, we have often redesigned, changed the layout of the kitchen. One person didn't want the ensuite bathroom downstairs, so as I say, they turned it into a dressing room. So there's all sorts of things where you can normally redesign a villa and change it around, as I say, within the constraints of the columns that go to make up the major structure of the property. Always with something like this, a 3-bedroom villa, you'll find you'll get a bedroom and bathroom downstairs because none of us are getting any younger. And then the other 2 bedrooms, either both en suite or in this case with a large family bathroom upstairs on the property. And then here also we go up again to a very nice roof sill area, and we'll see in a second, which has already been pre-stressed to take a jacuzzi. So if you do want to, really have the sort of luxurious rooftop area where it's very private, and here we come. The views out in this particular case over the Salt Lakes, then you can do it with this particular property. And so the pricing on these ones is exceptional. I think there's only about 3 or 4 now left at this particular development. And then, as I say, we'll have the 3-bedroom townhouses soon on the market. Here we come up to the roof space. Also, they include a summer kitchen up here so that you can extend your living space. Obviously, it's very important to put in good sun cover if you want to enjoy the rooftop solarium. And there's a lot more properties now than this video. This probably is one of our older videos, and there's a few more been built at that particular location, which is on the edge of Quesada, as I said earlier on. Again, you can see the video online, and you can see more details of this particular online using the reference number. The famous thing are always the arches. Everybody on the TV programs knows the arches of Quesada. You've seen it on A Place in the Sun. But in Quesada itself, there is everything, isn't there, David? Quesada really doesn't lack any facilities at all, does it?
No, it's really exploded, like Lorraine touched on earlier. They've just recently, took a long time, but hey, they did it. From January right through, they've got a brand new high street, fantastically paved, really nice ambience. And along with that, they've built some new commercial centres as well, and just adding more and more choice for us, the people who live here and visit here regularly. So really good.
And for the sports enthusiasts, you can go and book your free tennis court. There's two locations where you can have free tennis courts. You can go and book that at the town hall or online in the new COVID rules. And then there's also a private bowls club as well. So plenty for people to do who retire over here.
But bowls is quite big here, isn't it? I live not far away from Greenland, from the Emerald Isle. And I know that that's actually a big international centre. But bowls in Spain is quite a big sport.
They do, and they have a lot of leagues as well. So all of the clubs play each other. So it's a very social thing, and you can go out and see, and then you get to see different areas.
A fantastic gateway to start meeting acquaintances and friendships through a sport, and they do a lot of social events, dinner dances. So if you are new to the area, something that you're interested in, a club, a sports activity, is a fantastic way to get yourself up and running.
And you'll find with a lot of the clubs, they all do outside events. So we do quite a few coach tours privately for each group for clubs. So if you join a club, it's not only about the actual activity like the bowls club. It's not only about bowls, it's also about the whole social scene.
I've got one other question as well that's relevant. The other thing, of course, the big thing around I see in terms of social networking and everything are also the Facebook groups. My wife in particular is a member of a couple of the charity ones. I know she meets up with the Pink Ladies occasionally, as they call it.
The finger.
Afternoon tea and, all sorts of things. They do seem, the expats, when they do come and live in Spain, but it do seem to really, now I'm talking about all nationalities now, I'm not just talking about Brits, seem to just join together very well.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
I think you have to be a certain type of person to want to move abroad. So you have to have a little bit of outgoingness about you. And that's why over here, the expat community is a very vibrant one and a nice one to be part of.
And what about Spanish? What about if you can't speak Spanish, like me? I've been here 17 years and I have my hands up. My Spanish is still terrible.
It's very difficult. If you live in Quesada or other areas, you can live a normal life without speaking the local language.
As Lorraine said, a lot of the hospital staff speak English, although there are also a lot of translators that you can take with you if you are a bit nervous.
There's always help, and the Spanish people do, just a few words go a long way. And even in Rojales, there's a big social club, I don't know the exact name, but they have a big Christmas dinner, 150 people, a couple of times in the week, and it's half Spanish, half foreign residents, and they all get on really well.
There's a stat that says 50% of the population of Rojales are non-Spanish.
It's very high.
Yeah. I read it somewhere on one of the I don't know how true it was because it wasn't, verified, but that's what it was saying. In particular, my wife used to go, and there's not been much going on, to the Centre for the Second Age, if you know it, in Torrevieja.
Yeah.
That's it.
She was going down there and having a lot of fun with the language stuff and meeting all sorts of people when she joined there. Fascinating centre.
And again, just searching on social media, and that'll bring all of those clubs and associations to your fingertips. Just search what you like doing, gardening, anything like that, and you'll find a.
We have a lot of fantastic charities over here. We have the charity shops. If you wanted to help out at the charity shops, we have animal centres that you can go along and help out at.
One thing we haven't mentioned or focused on yet is, of course, not just people relocating. Of course, there are holiday homes, and we had pre-COVID an incredible demand. There are, I don't know what the numbers are, but of course that we have a huge holiday market here and a huge golf market as well, of course. So we mustn't ignore that. We're not totally obviously focused on, it changed again. We're not totally focused on residential stuff, although it's an important part, of course. We also have to remember that the holiday opportunity and the investment opportunity for people that exist. We know the market will eventually come back. Just bear that in mind. But a lot of people just want somewhere that they can jump on a plane and an hour later, not an hour later, I mean after the flight, travel a very short distance and being a holiday home and throw their bags in.
Sorry to interrupt you. It's all about chapters in your life. I know certainly Jess and I, we needed a new chapter by moving here. And after 15 years, we also wanted a new chapter again, just to freshen things up and sustain everything that we'd achieved in those first 15 years and then grow again into the next chapter. And it's we always say to everybody we know, Spain doesn't come to you, you've got to go and find it. And when you do, it's a fantastic place to be.
I agree, absolutely. Right, next we're going to Torrevieja, Orihuela Costa and the surrounding area. And I know there's a lot of confusion with Torrevieja. People either love it or hate it, often without even seeing it or even visiting it, because Torrevieja isn't just the town. Torrevieja is quite a large area. So Torrevieja, for example, the property we're showing looks onto the salt lakes on the sort of edges of Torrevieja, and we have them directly in the city as well. If you want to live right in amongst everything, again, there we go, a number of new developments sitting in the middle of the town itself. So again, it's an area that really does have something for everybody. That's the front. I love walking down the front. I love nothing more than parking the car in the flat car park by the submarine and walking down around the front down there. And there's some fantastic restaurants, bars, cafes, and especially ice cream places along the front there in Torrevieja. Any more to add on that sort of lifestyle bit of there? I'm sure you do a similar thing to me when you go down the front there.
That beach was the first where it all began for myself. Jess found me a little apartment to rent in the paper, and it was just a room in a flat, little Irish lady, and that was where it all began for us before our house was met. I used to walk down to Playa del Cura and just try and envisage the dream it was all going to happen. And Torrevieja, many cultural events, isn't there, Jess?
Many cultural events. They have a fantastic carnival. We talk about the carnival in Anguillas. It's not quite as big in Torrevieja, but if you didn't want to travel quite so far, then that's a good carnival. And we also celebrate the May Fair as well. So if you like your horses, and this is where the holiday homes, with looking at our website, you can plan your holidays around the local fiestas that you want to go to.
Okay. Let's move on. And now I wasn't hoping. The thing about this area is we've got some pretty good shopping around here these days, haven't we? I remember when I came here originally, there A, wasn't a lot, and B, not a great deal open on a Sunday. But of course, there are two fairly big commercial centres. The one you see here, which is the Habanales in Torrevieja itself, and of course the famous Zenia Boulevard, which I understand is rated as the largest open-air shopping centre in Europe currently, even complete with Primark, should you want to go down that particular route. You must have seen, like I have, a change in the way that shopping's come on and leisure's come on in this sort of area.
Yeah, it's just massive, isn't it? And also IKEA down Murphy Way. We've got everything now. Yeah, we've got C&A.
And I think we've always had C&A. It closed in the UK, but as far as Spain and France is concerned, we've always had C&A, and it's still Clockhouse, which amazes me as far as their brand is concerned.
No, and the beauty of it as well has to be the timings of shop hours. To be able to finish work on Wednesday at 7 o'clock and still have 3 hours feasibility to go to 2 miles, let alone the high streets in all the towns and shops in the village, it's just a convenience you can't buy.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening at the majority of the time. Yeah. Although in the towns they still obviously close for siesta in the centre of Torrevieja and other places.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But the 2 miles you've highlighted, it's just all day long. It's just magical, fantastic.
And what about the markets and my pet hate, which is the little old Spanish lady with the wheelie shopping thing?
The markets are, well, if I could show you a couple of photos from this morning. We got up early doors, 7 o'clock, straight to the market. We bulk buy our food, 22 euros, an IKEA bag that Lorraine touched on, full of fruit and veg. And then we come back, we do our batch cooking. So we've done like all our different types of soups. Jess makes some omelettes, aren't they? And we banana balls. And that's it, we're set up. The markets,
There's a market in the Costa Blanca South. There's a market every day of the week, isn't there? Somewhere located, whether it's Playa Flamenca on a Saturday or the very large one in Torrevieja on a Friday, or the one in Benihoffer, etc. There's literally a market every day that you can go to.
You can.
And it's great to learn your Spanish as well. Just try those few little words, learn all the fruit and veg, and just feel part of the community. That's what it's all about.
And of course, the golf. Anybody that joined us last week will have seen us going through the variety of golf courses. I think even in Costa Blanca South, I think we've got 8 golf courses currently available. So anybody that is a golfer, everybody that enjoys golf and getting out and about, and my advice on golf always is to join a society. It's another way of integrating. It's a way of playing cheaper golf. Use the green fee companies, but join yourself a local golf society.
Absolutely.
And they also have the holiday home, the holiday people who aren't here permanently. You don't have to live here permanently to be a member of the society.
No, that's the thing that people don't understand. Of course, anybody is welcome within the societies to play golf and, as I say, network and meet a variety of different people. And again, fiesta. We have lots of them around Torrevieja. We enjoy our red days and our local holidays. What's going on here?
So we've got 4 cartels, they're called, they're the advertising hoardings. So you've got the Carnival, which we already touched on, the Virgin Dove Carmen, she's a patron saint of fishermen. So Torrevieja has quite a big fishing community. So she's always celebrated with a voyage at sea. They take the actual statue out on the boat, then they bring it in, and then we have our fireworks, because we love our fireworks. We also have the Habaneras, and the Habaneras is a type of song that was brought back from Cuba on the fishing boats and the transport back in the 18th century. And so every year we have a Habanera special competition where we have outside bands come on down in the middle of the summer. And the May Fair, the civilian fair, which is the same as what it is in Sevilla, we have the tents all out down beside the port, and we have some flamenco dancing and all of the Andalusian tapas, and also horses. We have a lovely horse parade as well. So we cover.
Yeah, I've seen the horse parade. I remember the funniest thing I ever saw were seeing children dressed in their flamenco dresses on the bumper boats in Torrevieja on the fiesta there. That really did make me laugh when I saw it at that time. I want to take just a couple of quick questions here while I've got them here. I've got one from Vincent Fraser, and yes, the type of property you're looking for in this area is very easy. In fact, this week, I use an example of a 5-bedroom with the underbuild 4-bathroom villa in the Cabo Roig area, Lomas de Cabo Roig specifically. Within the meterage, you're talking about on a very large private plot, which was 369,000 euros, including furniture and everything. That was for a new build, including the pool. So yes, very easy to do your 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom on the size of plot, etc., that you're talking about within this area. And the second question from Olivia Brown, semi-detached properties are gained within the standards that we operate in EPC Class B when it comes to insulation. So although they are attached, it's actually totally separate walls for each property with a void in between. So it's not an adjoining wall, which is part of the other property, which was the old technique in terms of building properties. Nowadays, they are 2 separate walls. It's not a party wall, as we would call it in the old days, that joins onto the 2 properties. That's the 2 questions that I hope has answered as far as that's concerned. Let's move on and show you a very, very, very nice apartment complex, which looks onto our famous pink salt lakes. I'm sure people interested there, that I know that also Salt Lakes, they do a weekly tour now on the tourist train. They're still operating that in the centre of Torrevieja, and takes you around and explains the history of the Salt Lakes. So what we have here is we have a development which is built actually around, you'll see a laguna in the centre of there, and a mixture of apartments or bungalows, as they're called in Spain. And I'll just clarify that. An apartment where there is a ground floor with a garden and a top floor with its own roof solarium in Spain is actually called a bungalow. Just adding to the confusion when people come over and looking at properties. This particular complex has moved on a lot now from even the photographs you see there. The villas on the right there are almost complete now. I was there with a client literally this week. And there's your examples of the bungalows, which is the ground floor with a garden, top floor with a roof solarium. In this, which is a completely gated community. One of the most common questions we ask is, well, if I go onto a community that has some pool and everything, am I going to have to pay out a lot of money in terms of fees? And the easy answer to that is no. The estimated fees, and they're normally pretty accurate for a development like this, will be between 40 and 60 euros a month for your community fee. That will cover all of the maintenance of the outside areas and the swimming pool and the gardens, and they've gone artificial grass in here to save money. And the only other thing you will pay will be your rates, or your IBI, or SUMA, as it's known here. And in this particular area, it's going to be about 250 euros a year, not a month. So you can see here a modern design, which incorporates a breakfast bar, which incorporates a nice, as I say, nice lounge. You've got a terrace out the front. So in the ground floor ones, you have a terrace leading straight onto the pool area. On the top floor ones, you have a terrace onto the front, and going up to the roof solarium. And these particular properties, in actual fact, the pricing on there looks to me around a little bit out. I think we're starting down there now at, well, this is for the top floor one. The ground floor one starting now at about 165,000 euros, plus all the buying fees. And there are some special offers here in terms of them including some of the extras into the property itself. The message here, by the way, is if you are able to travel due to the pandemic and due to the fact that the builders carried on building through the pandemic, so there is a lot more key-ready properties available now, and also there are a lot more bargains available now in the new build market. Those bargains may not be direct price reductions, but they could be the inclusion of furniture packs and air conditioning and other items that you would normally buy. In the case of the villa this week, they achieved something like a 25% reduction in the price of a key-ready villa. Key-ready meaning literally you can, within a matter of weeks, move into the property. So here we're looking at, again, the modern design. Here we're looking at very well insulated. These are EPC Class B. And the big difference is the way they insulate the newer properties compared to the older properties. You will not hear the person above, below, to the side of you. It's an actual fact now in the way that they develop these properties. And this is the view. This is what you look out onto when you look out across the Salt Lakes over to Torrevieja from this particular property. It is absolutely stunning in terms of location. And we have 3 developers all building properties, all building apartments in this particular location. So finally, the last area that we're going to move on to is coming further down the coast, the area around, and it's easy enough for me to say, Pilar de la Horadada, and that surrounding area. If you're going to go walk in, and this is almost where you're bordering on to the Mar Menor, this is a very, very good place to go and explore. And beautiful, beautiful beaches. I asked the question earlier on about what's your favorite beach, what's your favorite restaurant. Well, it just so happens in this place I have both. I have my favorite beach is Los Arengas, and my favorite restaurant is a very good steakhouse in the main street in Pilar on the left-hand side. So El Gallego is the name of the steakhouse. So the double whammy here, they have both my favorites. This is the 18th hole again on a very good golf course there, which is called La Romero. So going back to David and Jess, what's this area got going for it?
Well, it's a kind of a mixture of 2 or 3, 4 towns. You've got Horadada, which has got a nice old tower there. And you've got inland, you've got Campo Verde, and then you've got Mil Palmeros, which is your favorite beach. So they often have, especially in the summer, Mil Palmeros is a really big holiday destination. So they have a lot of nighttime shopping. So they have the markets and the shops often open till midnight, which is a really nice way to just go down and have a little stroll along the sea and take in the markets down there.
It's very flat as well, so those active people, it's very good for those strolls along the seafront, endless kilometres of promenades. Like you were saying, your favourite restaurant, we have our favourite ice cream parlour on that promenade, so that often gets a visit every summer. Good connection down into the Mar Menor, which is a lovely place to go for a day out as well, more endless promenades. And then just inland, the Rio Seco that I know you've got a slide of, fascinating little walk. We call them little fillers. Let's go out and have a walk around the Rio Seco and have a coffee and then come home. So there's lots of little places you can drop in and around the Pilar area to have a nice afternoon or evening or morning combination.
Villa de la Horadada as a town is a bit like Quesada from the perspective that it's all year. You can go there in January, you can go there in July, you're still not going to see anything closed in January. Everything is completely working and running, all the bars, all the restaurants. And that's one of the attractions, I think, for people that look to relocate there for me. Anyway, let's show you, again, another bungalow in that area. You can see there, 167.9 is this particular property. In this style, the 3-bedroom properties are downstairs and the 2-bedroom properties are upstairs, and they're at the bottom of the main street in between the main street of the town and the golf course there, which is La Romero. This is unusual here because the pool here is a salt pool. Salt pools are much kinder, shall we say, on the environment and on the users. It's something that this particular very high quality builder decided to incorporate in the design. And they even, because of the number of Scandinavian clients this particular constructor gets, incorporated a bike shed with charging points.
Oh, wicked.
So these people with their electric bikes and, who want to come down, it's actually included in their space for some storage, but also it's specifically for bicycles. This again is a gated community. Unusual construction here because unlike many apartments, they built it across rather than down, for want of a better expression. So it's the main width of the property that takes up the lounge, rather than having a narrower one running down. And then when you open the doors up on this one, you're literally straight out onto the big outside areas, as you can see from this. And incorporated, I think, which is a must for me, which is the breakfast bar. My own particular design and preference is that you don't have the dining table. We've got enough outside weather, and use the breakfast bar for the occasional eating and then put your dining table outside. Again, this is 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with the ensuite bathroom. Again, we're using full-size furniture here, so you can see the size and nature of the rooms. Again, they're just very serviceable properties. It doesn't matter whether you're investing and looking for rental income or whether you're looking for a holiday home. And that moves me to one of the questions that was asked about the impression that they got from this area. And I can say to you, Eric, that no, this is absolutely not just a holiday reason. We were showing rental opportunities on the golf one, where for investors, we were looking at frontline golf properties starting from €70,000. There's a huge market. Now, I wouldn't say that the investment opportunity is for increase in value, because you're paying between 13 and 14% on top of any price, remember, in terms of the buying fees. But rental yields, I can answer your questions more specifically on yields and numbers separately outside of this particular webinar, but I do have the stats, etc., where we can talk about loan to value and rental yield quite easily with you. So that finishes the apartment there. And that's really the last area that we're going to cover today. Well, I hope from that perspective it's been useful to have a look around the properties. What happens next? Well, there's a few things that you can do in terms of everybody on this particular webinar. And the first thing is to have a look at our website. The Medland Spain website is extremely comprehensive. You can search by area, you can search by property, you can search by bedrooms, you can search by distance from the coast. You'll find that there are videos attached to each of the properties. We have buying guides. So there's lots of information to start with on the website itself. And of course, the information about the company I mentioned earlier on, us being a very substantial and established agent in the Costa Blanca. We're available by contact, website, email, telephone, more and more these days, Zoom calls and WhatsApp. We're doing virtual tours now regularly of properties. So if somebody's interested in a specific property, we will go online with you on Facebook and walk you around the property and walk you around the individual area. Or if you've got a particular budget in mind, we can do individual property searches, come up with a list. And if you are looking to come over, and please, I would advise everybody, this area is incredibly safe. And there are some very good offers out there if people are looking to buy properties. And finally, more webinars. So next weekend, we're looking at the Costa Blanca area, and then we're also then looking at new build or resale and the differences between those and mortgages. At the moment, there are some very attractive mortgage deals out there. 1.25 to 1.5% through to the age of 75. And it's very cheap money at the moment. Please, however, bear in mind, although the loan to ratio is 70%, that does not include your fees. So you do need between 50 and 55% of your own money. A couple of more questions. Stuart, pre-installation does not mean installation. It means that you've got the necessary cables, pipes, tubes, etc. in the property, but you need to buy the units themselves. It's a very popular misunderstanding that pre-installation is not air conditioning. You need to obtain the unit. And yes, Vincent, we'll come back to you with some ideas. I'll get one of them to come back with the ideas on the villas that you're particularly looking at. That's really it. We're coming up to the time now. So the final thing really is to just give you some ideas on how to contact us. You've got my web address there and direct dial number. And of course, the website I mentioned earlier on. In the same way, you can contact Lorraine if you've got any specific searches and requirements. And also the Facebook and the mail address and contact points there for Euro Tour Guide. The best route is through the Facebook, and I'm sure they'd be delighted to advise you on any trips and anything else that is coming along. Of course, once we get out the other side of the COVID situation, there'll be a lot more. He's nodding his head there. A lot more, David.
And then the outside will still be in La Liga.
There's some fabulous concerts I know that they attended last year with some of the, as I mentioned earlier on, some of the groups and individuals that they went out to. So that's it. Only left now for me to say thank you for those people that joined us today on the webinar. Thank the presenters who made time today on this warm, sunny afternoon in Spain for their input, and I hope you all found it interesting. And really, it's just goodbye from us all.